Hi, everyone. So today's topic is about change. I think it's about spiritual awakening. How do we go about the process of waking up spiritually and evolving and changing? There's change. There's a kind of change, where you want to lose weight or you want to learn a new skill. That's fine. You know, but when it's even that, like, how do you even have that desire that you want to lose weight? You finally are fine, and one day you think, oh, you know what, I don't feel quite well in this body. I think I need to lose weight, or I need to tone up. But it's the awareness that is the first step. So the first step of actually any kind of change happening is having the awareness that something is off, that you want to change. A lot of times people are sleepwalking through life, so they're completely not even aware that anything is off, that anything is really bothersome. You know, um, in my line of work, which is I'm a therapist and a social worker, and I'm a healer, and I do energy work with people. I come across all kinds of people from all kinds of all walks of life, and it's just amazing to me, the level of awareness that people are at. Again, there's no judgment there. It's just amazing to me because I used to be at a level where I was sleepwalking through life for many, 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 many years. I don't think I'm sleepwalking anymore, but like I've said before, I do tend to snooze off. But I think, I still have a long ways to go where I'm you know, completely awake and enlightened per se, which is the ultimate goal, right? But how do you even wake up to that? I think a lot of times what starts to happen is there's this uneasiness, there's this unhappiness. People are not um, not quite comfortable where they are. They believe that you know um, things are going fine. They look in the external life and they go, well, I have the house, I have the husband, the good looking husband. In my case, it was, I had the big house, I had the handsome husband, I had the beautiful kids, I had, you know, in those days, it was the DVD player, which was brand new. So I remember my mother coming to the house and saying, well, why are you depressed? You have a beautiful house, you have the amazing husband, who's such a handsome pilot guy, and you have beautiful kids, and you even have a DVD player in every room. Like, as ridiculous as it sounds, right? But, you know, for her, like, that was at that point, like, you have all the material checkpoints, done. Like, you're smart and you're intelligent, and you're beautiful, you're happy, blah, 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 blah. What could you possibly have, to be upset or to be depressed about? And I think, you know, we're switching gears a little bit, but again, I'll come back to, what I'm starting to get to is, you know, this whole waking up process is really interesting because, you know, there's just this uneasiness, there's this unhappiness. You just know something is off, something is not, you're missing something. There's this desire to want more. You're not quite even sure what that more is, but you just know that there's more out there that you're supposed to be wanting, that you're supposed to have and experience. So, so the first step is the awareness that something is off. Once you have the awareness, once we have the awareness, then the teachers, the messages, the training starts coming in from various places. There's a wonderful quote that I heard many couple of decades ago, which was, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And I really, really believe that. I think when one is ready to hear the message, to hear the lesson, then the teacher appears, and the teacher can be in the form of the lyrics of a song that you might hear on the radio, or they might be, something you watch on TV, it might just be something, maybe a WhatsApp message someone sends you, or something you see on Facebook, or, something, a conversation you have, or maybe something you hear, in church or at the mosque, something that someone just says and it just kind of resonates with you, right? It hits a nerve. It kind of makes you stop and go, you know, so that's where your teachers start coming in, and the key here is to listen, right? The key here is to start to pay attention and get the messages. I talked about this, in one of my other videos where, the lessons are the same because we chose those lessons. But the way we learn the lesson changes. So an opportunity presents us, in a certain situation to learn the lesson. If we miss the lesson, what happens? Well, what happens is the lesson will come back in another form. So I always say, the plot might change, the actors might change, the scenario might change, but the message is going to be, the lesson is going to be the same. It'll just present itself again, allowing us the opportunity to learn it until we learn it. And once we learn the lesson, then next we mastered that one, then we go to the next lesson that we wanted to learn. It's just a process of life. It's really that simple. But we all tend to miss it, right? So that's one thing. So then the third thing is, then do you get the lesson? Are you willing to, are you awake enough to understand the lessons? And then when it comes to waking up and making a change in your life, yes, you have to have the awareness that something is off. The second step is, then you have the desire, the messages start coming in, the teachers start coming in, but then do you have the courage to actually follow through and try something different? One of the, they've done research after research on children who've been abused and neglected, battered women syndrome, women who've been or men who've been in abusive relationships, and when they've researched and they've given, battered women, or they've given, children who've been abused the option of choosing, to get away from the abusive parent versus and going and living with a safe, parent, a safe foster parent or facility of some sort. Same with the abusive women, when you've given, abused women, the opportunity to go away from the abusive spouse, they've chosen time and time again to stay in the relationship. A child will choose the abusive parent hands down over, a non-abusive. Not why is that? Well, the reason is because it's the fear of the unknown, right? At least here, the research shows that they know what to expect. They know, yes, if they mouth off, the parents will, when the parents are upset, they'll get spanked, they'll get beaten, they'll get verbally abused, but at least they know it's what to expect. It's the unknown that is so fearful that most people, kids, in this case, are not willing to take that chance. And that's really the same with, a lot of adults, right? We don't want to, we're afraid to take the step. We're afraid to try something different, but I ask you, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You have to lose. And what do you have to gain? What do you have to lose? Well, what you can lose, possibly if you're lucky, is the old way of thinking, the old way of doing stuff. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you have to gain a new level of spiritual awakening. So, I would recommend, if these videos I'm grateful that you guys are, receiving it as positively as you are. I'm grateful that it's making people think. That's really just the intention. When I first started making these videos, literally, a week ago, I never intended to make more than one video. It was just, I felt like I needed to say something. I said it, and that was done. And then, with just the responses and the overwhelming feedback, it's been very encouraging. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be doing this. What I take for granted is, the information and what I know. I assume everyone else knows, and it turns out it's not common sense. But I also know that what I'm sharing, there's no new information that I'm sharing. I'm very aware of that. It's just that I think people need a reminder. And I'm just grateful that you allow me to be that person that reminds you of that. Well, anyways, we're still in Alabama. It's rainy. It's beautiful here, but now it's wet and cold and rainy because the storm has moved up. I'm grateful that we missed, Irma was very kind to us. God was amazing. The prayers worked. We had very minimal damage, if any. We've got family and friends that are out of electricity, are not, getting water supply. But honestly, that's nothing compared to how bad it could have been. So thank you for everyone who's prayed, who's been praying. Please continue to pray. like I've said before, prayers are very, very powerful. We're going to continue to pray for everyone in Tampa and, everyone that is getting tropical storms. I'm hoping, it'll be minimal. So thank you. Thank you for that. Again, please feel free to share the video if it's been meaningful. Please, continue to send messages and write comments. And again, if you have questions, ask. You don't take everything and anything I say for my word. Who the hell am I? No one, right? What do I know? Nothing. Don't take me on my word. I'm not some expert here. I'm just another person like you and, like everyone else. So if you don't agree with someone, sure, let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's question, let's debate it. I might learn something new. I'm always open to learning new things. Thank you so much once again, and God bless, and until we meet again, take care.